What's up, world? It's your boy Wes.
And it's your boy Mosby.
Coming at you with that locker room talk and the shorts on the sports.
Where we keeping you locked in on the scores, but on the inside, there's a whole lot more.
Because what's said inside the locker room
stays inside the locker room.
All right, so I'm going to ask a question, put everybody in a hot seat, get some good discussion going. So who here actually watches women's sports, like follows avidly women's sports? Okay.
Yep, I'll be the honest one here. For real, outside of the soccer aspect, and that was just because of Megan Rapinoe. WNBA, I don't keep up with just because it's not aired like that for real.
And I can say I don't keep up with WNBA. But I don't know. I think first, I don't keep up with the NBA as much as I keep up with college anyway. So I keep up with college.
That. I will say, to that point though, I actually do watch when we don't have it now, but I was keeping up with women's college basketball. Mm-hmm. But I'll say, and I'll also be transparent, only reason why I was really keeping up with them is because my coworker has a daughter that played for Notre Dame. That was really the reason. It was really to support her, and then I ended up kind of getting engaged with that. But that was my transparent moment there for y'all.
and I don't feel like that's any fault of your own. I think when I started to pay attention to women, particularly women's basketball more, is when I was working in women's basketball. Like when I was interning in the UK, that was one of my main sports was the women's basketball team. So I don't know if it was, I liked working with them because it was a little bit more hands-on. But I don't know if it started like when I would sit back and watch the games as I'm working, I would notice the crowd. Like most of the crowd is older. Like you would be shocked. Like if you ever go to a women's basketball game, especially college, most of the crowd is like older people.
Wow.
I got into a really good conversation with two guys because, South Carolina is, UK, one of UK's big rival games or whatever. So you would think because of the way that game sells out, they would move it to Rupp Arena. They don't. They keep it in Memorial Coliseum, which no AC, no heat. You know what I'm saying? You just in there like wood, no real chairs. It's wood benches. You know what I'm saying? I was talking to two older guys. They were probably in their 60s, 70s, whatever. And he was like, I've always supported women's basketball. He was like, he said I like it because it's more. He said I like the fundamentals about it. Like you see the real skills within the game. Like you don't see basically an athletic person ain't gonna be able to just survive in this game. Like they're gonna have to know how to play. They're gonna have to have some knowledge. And that was kind of like their whole synopsis of it, which I was intrigued by that. And then I think also it kind of started to annoy me, the fact that how, especially at UK, because I didn't experience it as much being a Louisville fan. And I would go to women's Louisville games. They played in the same arena. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And pretty much everybody here supports the Louisville women's basketball team. So like, I guess being in my own bubble, being in my own ignorance, I didn't realize that was a problem in most other places. So when I was at UK, and I'm just like, oh, they really don't mess with them. But they were producing just as good as numbers. They was performing in postseason. They was performing during the season, and they was putting out some good games. Like it was some good games, So I think that's what got me more so interested in it. Like, you know what? Let me pay a little bit more attention, especially just being a woman too.
Big facts. Baby, do you watch women's sports?
I would not say that I'm an avid viewer of women's sports. I do, whenever I can catch track and field on, you can bet that I'm watching the women races. And similar to Kaylin, like I started following our women's basketball team when I got to UK. I was down, for my Wildcats, no matter the sport, no matter the day. I wanted to support them any way that I could. But as far as just, looking for a game to watch and it's between a women's and a men's game, I'm probably not going to choose a women's game. I'm going to be honest with you. And it's rare sometimes that you'll even have that selection to choose from because women's game don't always get the same amount of coverage, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Right
yeah, in all honesty.
I think that's why more people don't watch because it's not like you have the option to watch.
Right.
Now, ESPN Plus. So I think you can. Well, we don't know because we didn't get a chance to. But I think you probably would be able to watch the games on that because that ESPN Plus don't it show all the games that don't really get no TV time.
But even then, you have to have special access to have ESPN Plus. So not only are you not, showing the games on a channel that I can regularly access, I have to be able to have this subscription just to watch. So you're making it harder for me to support women's sports.
Yeah.
It is hard. It's hard to support that because you have to legit be invested in it and not just invested with your time. You have to be invested with your money because you have to pay for those extra channels and stuff. And I think it's unfortunate. That is something I feel that factors into the pay. But when you get into that, it's like we'll give them a fair shake. You know what I'm saying? Like when, and if you just think of the WNBA, they play 4 months out of the year, 4.5 months out of the year. They only play 35 games. So, and it's in the summertime. So it's not during the time of the NBA season.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not to offend anybody who likes baseball because I like baseball, but that's not something I can watch on TV. That's something that I can only watch if I'm sitting at a game. I'm not watching on baseball on TV. So the only thing that is on is baseball and WNBA basketball, and the fact that they still don't get no airtime is crazy.
Yeah, and it feels intentional too, though.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It feels intentional.
I pulled up this stat. Let me see. Let me get it up on my phone. I pulled up this stat about pay because this was a big thing. Y'all remember maybe. Well, not this season. The last season. Are y'all familiar with Asia Wilson? She played for South Carolina. Okay. So she had made a tweet about LeBron James's contract with the Lakers, and she said, $150 million must be nice. We over here looking for a meal, upside down face. But Lord, let me get back in my lane. That's what she said.
They started dogging her.
Yeah, they started going in on my girl, and she followed back up with just her what she had to say about it. But then and I feel like that conversation kind of pushed forward them getting a little extra money this season. But I have a friend who played D1 basketball. She never had any aspirations to go to the WNBA because they don't make anything. I think I make more than some people playing WNBA. Probably all four of us make more than some of the females playing in the WNBA. That's why they have to play all year round. And the sad part is that they want to be here in their home country for the most part.
They gotta go to China.
More money overseas playing basketball than they do over here. It's a big appreciation for it, overseas. But to get back to that stat I was about to pull up, it was the amount of pay that they get is different. Here it is. It says so the pay model for the WNBA, it pays players about 25% of its revenue, but the NBA pays players 50% of its revenue. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Granted, the NBA makes $7 billion a year, and the WNBA makes maybe $40 million a year. but still, it shouldn't just be 25% of the pay going to the players. That's messed up. So it's so many. It's like when you break it down, it's just so many negative marks in there that kind of it's a hole. It's a ongoing rabbit hole. So kind of unfortunate.
I do want to talk, because that actually was another question on here. Actually, you had hit on it. One of the bullet points we had on here was about the pay rate, and we actually didn't know how this conversation would go, quite frankly, so we didn't make it a focal point. But since you did bring that up, that actually speaks a lot to the women's CBA, or whatever you want to, the collective bargaining agreement, and how they're negotiating stuff in terms of how these players are getting compensated for their efforts. We, I don't know if you heard the episode, but we talked in one of our episodes about kind of what it takes, to be an athlete in certain aspects, especially.
Yeah, I listened to that one.
Yeah. And I mean, these players are literally sacrificing their livelihoods to a degree, to all their efforts and all their time into being perfectionists in their respective sports. And you would hope that with the amount of effort that they're putting into their craft, they would get compensated appropriately. Right. I was like, even in the NFL, I mean, the NBA is a different beast, and that's probably just because of the fact that they can market a little bit differently than the NFL. But even recently, the NFL's collective bargaining agreement went up to 48.5, I think, in terms of shared revenue. So I was like, even in that, there's a huge gap that is uncalled for, quite frankly. Like, why is it that 25% is going? I was like, in any
25%,
right? I was like, if you're making $40 million off of women's sports, why can't they get half of that shared revenue?
And when you look at, and when you break down, and when you break down the numbers, it's nowhere near as many teams in the WNBA.
Yeah,
basically everybody can go to the postseason because it's not that many teams, and then it's not as many teams, and they still are getting less money. Like you're not splitting your pie as much if they was to bump it up, but it just doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And I mean, honestly, I don't even agree with the NBA nor the NFL collective bargaining agreement, because I don't feel like players should only be getting. We're not gonna cut this pie in half. We're gonna do like an 80-20 here. Ground beef me. Mm-hmm. Like.
For real though, honestly, because that makes sense though. Because think about how many teams and players there are in these leagues. Like 50% is actually lowballing the players if you think about it. I mean, these are billionaires we talking about here.
Yeah, the whole cap space idea. Like, really, it should be. I mean, at least do 60-40.
Right.
But honestly, it should be 80-20, at least 75-25. If you want to if you want to do it like that, you want to split it into quarters. But 50-50, you not out here getting your head bashed in and getting your body hurt, coming, practicing day in and day out. Like, you honestly, if you even you don't even know if you pushing papers because you the owner. Like, you signing some papers, you signing some checks, but you not even. Like, the day-to-day, you're not feeling that you golfing or whatever you do in your spare time. That's wild to me. Like, because nowhere else is going to sign up to be like, oh, let me go ahead and do 100% of this work and only take home 50% of my pay. Get that off the roof. Get that off the roof.
Nah.
The other part about that I did want to touch on a little bit is we also did an episode about Kobe Bryant and how his legacy has been further highlighted since his death. And Wes, you had brought up the point about we didn't even realize how much he was advocating for women's sports until after he died, right? Yeah. And so now that they're getting, that's the connection. I mean, even to go back to like college basketball, Sabrina Ionescu had achieved a feat that no player in college basketball
Nobody
history
had
has
ever
ever
done.
achieved.
Yeah.
No player. And she's going to obviously go on, Lord willing, to the WNBA. But to that point, who was the lady that got hurt? Who was that player that got hurt going overseas? And I thought she was the MVP of the WNBA. There was a player that got hurt overseas trying to make more money.
It wasn't Della Dawn, was it?
Louisville.
Oh, Angel.
Angel McCarthy. Yeah.
There you go.
Overseas. Yeah.
And that's
her ACL actually.
Mm-hmm.
See, and that's that's almost a career ender. Almost a career ender.
Yeah.
And I'm over here trying to look up really quickly. Wesley, if you have any thoughts, please chime in as well. You have brought up the fact that the CBAs in some of these leagues is ridiculous. I'm actually trying to look up the MLB's collective bargaining agreement.
Hey, if I had kids or any of that, like if you want to play baseball, I'm gonna push you to do that.
I'm pushing baseball. I'm pushing the hell out of baseball.
Heyday.
Like they are set. Like the NBL takes care of their players. Like from the outside looking in, I ain't never played professionally or none of that. But from the outside looking in, they take care of their players. Like
from every division. I mean, look at 1A. 1A get paid almost $500,000.
Yeah, like it's crazy. I'm like, they just have the best setup of benefits to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you compare them to other sports, they do, and it just like when I see players I'm all for following your passion. I be looking like, what was you thinking about? Like players who choose to play football over baseball. What?
And they might have been really, really good at baseball. I done seen a lot of cats like that.
I mean, look at what's his name? Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes. Like the list goes on and on. And it's just like that's what you chose. Like my little cousin, which he might be mad if I say this, I don't care. Growing up, I thought he was better at baseball than he was at football. I always thought he was. But he wanted to play football so bad. And I'm looking at him like, you out your rabbit mind. You boy, most cuss. You out your mind. Like, why? But, I mean, it is what it is. Like, you can still get drafted out of high school.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what cats be thinking nowadays. I think they more look at off entertainment. That's probably that's what a lot of people look at as the push. But like you said, they don't understand the longevity. Like there's a lot of baseball players now that are retiring and they're still getting paid out. And they retired 5-10 years ago. But they're still getting paid out. But that's how most of the agreements is in the NFL. Once you retire, you get 2 years of pension and you're done.
Yeah.
Other than that, if you don't save your money or you don't get no endorsements, you don't get no money after that. They're not paying you anymore.
And then I don't know. It's funny like that. Do y'all, while you're looking that up, do y'all listen to y'all know Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson?
All the smoke.
Yeah, that's my stuff right there.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the stuff we talking about, Jamel Hill actually touched on in her segment.
Yeah, I saw that one.
But they do one with CC Sabathia. I was at somebody else I was watching. I watched a podcast with CC Sabathia. I don't know if it was them or if it was somebody else, but he touched on a little bit of like the baseball. It had to be them, like with like pay and baseball and all of that stuff. It's just like when you sit down and you look at it, I just feel like it's so eye opening.
Yeah, there was 2 different ones on here. I really couldn't pinpoint which one was more accurate than the other. One said 48, which I thought was a little low, but the other one said 50-50 as well. So it's still along the lines of the NFL and the NBA, and those but I did see that they make about $10 billion in terms of revenue.
Yeah, I'm gonna say they got a bigger
right.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, and they have a bigger pool, which that also is a little dicey because I mean they have a bigger pool here as America's pastime. My bad. But like the NBA is like international.
International.
Baseball's international like that. Like you have it in like South America, but it's not as international as basketball. Like you got basketball in Greece. You know what I'm saying? Like in these countries you didn't even know was a thing. Lithuania. Negative black people there.
So I do want to switch gears real quick to make sure we have time to talk about this. So Kaylee, you touched on your experience a little of working in sports. And Wes, you even mentioned, some of the women who are making strides, in modern day sports and things of that nature. So I really just want to have some discussion around or hear your guys' thoughts on, Kaylin, personally, your experience with working in sports and maybe like, why is it so hard for women to be in that realm?
I have, and I'm gonna try to give y'all a shortened version because when I say it's just something that, like, as a kid, that's something that I always wanted to do, And when I got to college, so much was just like sat in front of you, and I think it's unfortunate. I know it's very unfortunate. So like I said, I'm gonna give y'all the shortened version because I've worked on both sides of it. I've worked on the media relations side, the public relations side of it, and I've worked on the media side of it. As a woman anyways, walking in to anything, you're already given 2 negative points. Like, well, at least a negative point being a black woman, you're going to get an extra negative point. So I'm already down. I'm down the whole 2 when I walk in the door before I open my mouth for anything. When I walk into the sports realm, I'm down like a negative 10. So much is judged off of just before you even open your mouth. Like, I'm not going to be looked at as credible because, oh, you didn't play, or how you going to talk about football? You ain't never played no football, or it's, women need to stay in a woman need to stay in a woman's place, quote unquote. You know what I'm saying? So you don't get the same credibility. Like you and I are, West and I, Steve and I, we can all say the same thing. But if I say it, you don't know what she's talking about. But you say it, you're right, bro. You're right. I've had that happen to me. I've had that happen to me on countless occasions. And then it's the other aspect of it, which when we say it for like black entertainers and stuff, like, you have a responsibility. When it's been women in sports who have their sole purpose, or not their sole purpose was to not go in and do a job, but was to go in to get a check, but to get a check from sleeping with somebody, that sets every female back 10 steps. Yep. And so you deal with that. And like, I never like call nobody out personally, but like when I was working for UK Athletics, when I was in school, we had to have an entire 2-hour meeting about our attire. An entire meeting about our attire. Because we had some girls that's what they was there for. They only wanted to work with football and basketball because they was trying to catch. Like that's what they was there for. They wanted to mess with an athlete. Their goal was to get with an athlete. But then that overshines everybody who was actually here, female wise, that is trying to just put in the work, trying to get the experience so you can move on to the next step. And when you see that, it's damn near like everybody's gonna just, you know what, we're gonna just cast a blanket over everybody. So it's hard. It's hard on that sense, just because one, you're not gonna, like, being a woman, you don't know as much. Two, you're not gonna be letting the doors easy. Like a man knows a man, but a woman don't know a man. That's how it's gonna come. and then you're gonna be looked at as you trying to be a thought, you trying to be a groupie. And that could be like, honey, you're not even my type. Don't flatter yourself. Like we put into that, but that's not like, even when I was tutoring athletes, every single one that I tutored, they most definitely tried me. Please, get your life. Like you here to get this lesson. Over the thank you. Like, like it's not what we here for, but they're gonna push their buttons, and they're gonna see who they can get. And a lot of times they get who they want, because you got some women who go into it with the mindset of, yeah, I watch sports, but I most definitely buy mess with dude because it's just the move.
Yeah.
That's
like, and I've seen it, and it's annoying. It's so annoying because you're like, dude, like, you make me look bad. Like, you standing next to me, we supposed to be working, and you got on something that you supposed to go to the club in. Me, bro, I'm business casual flag. You thought
that's real life. That's real talk.
Hey, that's straight up though.
That's real talk.
Man, straight up. To be honest with you, Kaylin, you had touched on something that I actually really wanted to highlight as well. Because literally, now that I think about it, it is super hypocritical for people to think like that. I mean, we know it. Obviously, I'm not going to act like it doesn't happen. We all know it happens out here. It's just the way that people are raised. But I find it mad hypocritical that one can say that about a woman, especially working in sports, when they're just like anybody else, trying to be a student of the game, analytically wise, and all that other stuff. But you listen to some of these people on ESPN, male. I'm talking male reporters. They never played the sport a day in their life. Never. We talked about it. They literally never played the sport a day in their life, but they will run down all these numbers. They'll run all these scientific methods and all that other stuff about the game. And then when it comes down to it, sometimes someone just got to say, "Listen, brother, that's not how the sport works." Right? It's not how the sport works. And people will find them credible because they have all these stats right in front of them that they studied for hours on end. And I was like, what difference? I'm like, literally, what difference is that? Especially if, let's even say, for instance, Caitlin, in what you were saying about you guys are in the same room. Who's to say that she is not more credible than the guy, and she probably has more sports experience than that.
And like, I mean, and then sometimes, like, just speaking on the analyst part, some people are just number regurgitators.
Yeah, like, that's all they are.
Numbers, like, all you can do is look. I'm gonna tell you now, I can't remember all of these numbers. Like, when people are able to throw out all of these random stats, I'm looking like, how you store all of that in your mind? Like, I got other information up, I can't store all of them numbers. Like, them numbers is gonna be messed up. But can you watch the game and really break it down? Like,
understand why they're doing this and that.
Exactly.
And, like, and I'm talking about watch it. No, like, mute the TV when you watching it. Mute it and really break it down. Can you do it? Some of the players, I mean, some of the analysts can't do it, but they're quote unquote analysts. That's a problem for me. And then, I mean, it's just like, I mean, even when you go into the other side of sports, where you're working in sports, like coaches and stuff like that. Look at the amount of female coaches. It's low, especially in basketball. And then when you look at women's basketball, you don't have like it's male dominant in head coaching aspect, because it's like women don't know sports. That's what it boils down to, another systematic mindset.
Yeah.
So it's really just breaking down those systematic pressures.
The chains, breaking the chains.
Like,
Wes, did you have anything that you wanted to? Because we are coming up. I want to make sure we still have enough time. But did you have any last words? Any of you two?
I mean, she hit everything that what it is. Like I said, I test for women, especially in my profession. Me being a trainer, I test for women. I tell my boss all the time, like, man, we need to find more female coaches, just because it's It's a simple fact of, like I've said, like you don't need no too many. It's too many guys that want to be that rah rah loud. I gotta be in your face, be this type of guy, and people fall for that. Like they just fall for that. They think that's the way to coach or the way to get through certain athletes. And the sad thing is, it ain't. You know, I've seen a lot. Most of the most successful coaches that I've seen or I've learned from has been women. That's
Mm-hmm.
where I learned from. Like they taught me how to talk to people and how to get to a person and how to be relational, like and build relationships with people, right? Rather than me being in here just yelling the whole time, wasting my breath. It's no point of that. And long she was saying with why ain't a lot of female coaches, on these basketball teams, it's always males because they think males are the only people that can get it through to win. Oh, you're gonna be too soft on them. You ain't gonna push them. When the fact is, Pat Summitt was probably one of the best coaches, and she knew how to be in between.
Yeah.
But people don't realize that. People don't realize that.
Yeah.
They look at UConn's coach, Gino Auriemma. They think that's the way because he a male. Look what he doing. When no, he just get the best people in the nation because he go to UConn.
Yeah.
But people don't look at it like that though. People don't stare at it like he a man, so he know how to do it. Rather than we ain't really worry about Pat Summitt. She just got lucky because she was at UT. No, that ain't it. Women just get that in between.
I forget her name. What's her name? South Carolina's coach.
Oh, Don.
Thank you, Don. I was drawing a blank. Yeah. That's my girl. And she
amazing coach.
Black.
Amazing coach.
Ain't done nothing. But Jazz, you can talk about it because you want to be in sports. I wanted to be in sports. So.
That's very true. And I do think for someone who is not currently working in the sports industry, I will say it's definitely not an easy industry to break into. And the fact that you, like you said, I'm already down 2 points being black and a woman, and then even more because I'm not in the industry already. And I definitely think that that's the industry that does a lot of hiring from within. So the challenge that I'm currently facing is just how do I, break into an industry without, diminishing my talents and skills. Granted, I know we all got to start from somewhere, but I have credentials, and I'm not going to start at the bottom just because, that's what people say it takes. Because if a man was in the same position I'm in trying to get this job, it probably wouldn't be as difficult. But I don't know. It's an interesting dynamic. I am definitely proud of all the progress that women have made thus far, and the change that we're starting to see in some of the leagues is definitely because this systemic mindset is so deep and ingrained. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, and it might not even be something that I see in my lifetime, honestly. But I'm one of those people that if I can make an impact or an influence, that's what I'm trying to do, even if it's small, even if I just, chip a little bit away, if I can, break some away for the next person to really break through, that's what I want to do. So yeah.
That's straight up.
That's money. That's money.
That's straight up. We working on about 7 minutes left. The last question that we wanted to have you talk about, I told you it was gonna come back to bite you. We always got to get it from our our lovely guests. We got to get your hot takes. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And before we get off of here, we did want to know what is your NBA top 5 all time?
Okay. Now I got some accuracy in there. I got a couple little side notes in there, but because I knew you was gonna ask me this.
Yeah.
I've been ready for you. Like I've been waiting on you since brunch because I knew you was gonna come.
Let it rip.
Okay, so I'll start from the center down. So go ahead and give me Big Shaq Diesel, but I want Diesel from,
Magic.
The Magic. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Early Lakers, like not when they was like, because when he got a little lazy, you know what I'm saying?
We don't want Boston Celtics Shaq.
Hey, chill out on my man.
I don't want steering wheel belly Shaq, you know what I'm saying? I want lean and slim. Go ahead and give me Shaq. Cause I like a type of player like this. Give me Kevin Durant, KG for my forward. And that's because I like a certain type of player. Like I like a gritty player. That's like when DJ did hers. I was with her talking about Ben Simmons. I loved Ben Simmons when he played. Like, I just like somebody that's gonna get mad and just ruffle your feathers. Like, I like it. It reminds me of Street Park Ball. Go ahead, Bron at the 3.
As expected.
Yeah, give me Dwayne Wade at my shooting guard. Now I'm gonna pause because
I can't believe it.
Michael Jordan and all of that, which is great. Like Michael Jordan, I respect him to a different level. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't grow up watching Michael Jordan. I watched some of his stuff at a small time. But so like on respect GOAT factor, yeah, he can go in there. But like if I'm just going off of people I watch, and I grew up on, Dwayne Wade was my man's.
Go ahead.
But now I know what you about to say.
I'm gonna get on you. What's what?
Even when Shaq was fat, couldn't nobody do nothing with him. Now, if I was to pick somebody like current times, like if I was to pick a center right now,
that ain't me.
It'd be like like Anthony Davis. Like if I was to replace Shaq, I would take Anthony. Like but I didn't watch Miami Shaq. I mean, I didn't watch Magic Shaq. I watched Laker Shaq and on forward. Then where was I at? Oh, and then my one, I gotta go with the answer, AI. That's the reason I was even watching basketball. That's why I'm trying to figure out what you was talking about.
Jason Kidd.
Pass first point guard. You know how many pass first point guards I can name that's better than Jason Kidd? This ain't even no disrespect to dude. But he's not it. Not he ain't going in no all time. What the?
I tried to tell him.
He's not in the Hall of Fame yet. He gonna be in there.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not discrediting him, but he's not gonna be my top pick of even past first point guards.
Hell nah.
Who?
I'll take John Stockton over him.
Bro, you ain't even watch him play.
It don't matter. I've heard what he's done. You can look at the highlights.
I wasn't gonna say him. I was gonna say you could take Chauncey Billups.
No.
Yeah, you can throw Chauncey.
Can take. It's other ones you can go through. Like you can go through way more. Like you can even go through Tony Parker. Like we can go through enough. Like honestly, and this ain't even, and it's maybe some hometown stuff. But if you talking about pass first and know how to drop at dime, go ahead and give me Ray John before you give me Jason Kidd.
What?
You can't find this. Oh.
Listen, man. I told you I'm gonna get on you because you just put D Wade in. You just put D Wade in on your shoot as your shooting guard, and you just said it was because that's what you grew up watching. I grew up watching the young J Kidd, especially when he was with the Nets.
So you just
I'm judging you.
You feel me?
A lot of players like Steve. What you 26, 25,
26 in
next week. A week from today.
Yeah. 26 next week.
Okay, yeah.
You coming up here, right? Say that.
Need that in.
Yeah, right. Put on the spot.
Like you didn't watch a lot of players.
Man.
I'm just saying. I had ran down what my top 5 was, and I'm literally talking from a playable top 5. I did not choose AI because he was a shoot first kind of PG. And I was like, with the people that I already had on that list, I said I wanted a pure facilitator. And that's what J Kidd was. If you ever watch J Kidd,
you had to pick AI because you don't gotta pick AI. Because AI he gets shot down a lot. You don't gotta pick AI. But I just didn't understand Jason Kidd. Like when you said that, I thought my whole workout.
She paused the whole podcast.
I had to roll it back and everything because I wanted to make sure my ears wasn't deceiving me,
Man, we in the same boat.
Man.
Like when you said it, it was my. I said, like I had a whole
listen, but this is why we had the locker room talk. This for this very reason.
Yeah.
This very reason.
Hey, no, I respect you stand behind your decision. I respect it.
Hey, we all should. But We are coming up on time, unfortunately.
Give me Melo to put at my 4. If I took
Ooh.
KG out, Melo.
DJ put him in there too. I can respect that.
Give you that body.
Yeah, I can respect
fill out his points. You're gonna feel that's a big body bench.
What is the shoulders? What is it?
Big body game.
but for sure, we are definitely gonna have you back on so we can obviously have more of that real talk with you and that sports talk because we ain't done with you. Best believe that. We ain't done with you.
On Sports Center did the bracket with the all-time college players. When y'all do that,
AI was on there.
Yeah, he was. My man should have been in the Final Four, but I ain't gonna talk about it though.
We're gonna leave that for another day.
Yeah, we'll leave that for another day. But lastly, before we get off, for our fans tuning in, I want to give a quick shout out. I forgot to do that in the beginning. Shout out to Terran Van, old high school friend. He said he'd been tuning in. Big shout out to him. He said he actually want to get on here. So we're gonna make sure we get some time.
What? Really?
Yeah, he did, brother. He did. So shout out to you, Terran. We'll definitely get you on. Let's Talk Podcast. They've been showing us a lot of love on IG and Facebook a little bit. Shout out to you guys. Our boy, I don't even know how to say his name properly. Luke Shakur. Is that how
Luke Shakur.
We know him by Nigel. We know him by Nigel.
I did not play that man like that.
I'm just saying, I would always call that brother Nigel. That's what I know him as.
Nigel.
But he also has, what's up?
How did he go from Luke Shakur to Nigel?
No, his name was Nigel. He changed it to Luke Shakur.
Oh, okay. I ain't gonna mess with him.
Yeah. He changed it. But he actually has his own. He's a YouTuber now. And he goes by the author of Optimism. So if you guys are looking for some quick optimistic talk to get you through your day, some motivational talk, definitely give that man a look. He's on YouTube. And then lastly, the Just Talk podcast. I thought they were the same podcast at first, but they're two separate ones. It's the Let's Talk, and then it's the Just Talk podcast.
They've talked about switching names.
They probably, or they need a collab, one of the two. But shout out to them. So, thank you again, Kaylin, for tuning in. I promised you was getting on here.
Yeah. I've been waiting on my time. I be seeing the episodes. I'm like, now they ain't called me.
Nah, we ain't gonna leave you out.
For the special one, we had to get you for the special one. And you, if you are open, like I said, you're definitely more welcome. Come back, give your hot bogus takes. Oh, you feel me? You talking about J Kidd? I'm gonna get you on that one. You feel me? But we'll leave that for brunch. We'll leave that for brunch.
I really dig into you at brunch.
Oh yeah.
But keep it kid friendly, family friendly.
Please do. But like I said, we gonna keep the inside locker room talk always open to all people. Wes, if there are any last words for you, my friend.
That's all I wrote. Appreciate you coming through. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Pull up anytime, or virtual social distance.
Virtual social distance. And always, baby. Well, as for us, once again, this is another episode of Inside the Locker Room. Y'all stay safe out there, all right?
Peace.
In the Middle East.